You know, there's a moment when you've sat down to watch a movie that you've loved your entire life. You own it on every format from Laserdisc and VHS to 4K. But for some reason, about 10 or 20 minutes in, you're like, yeah, not so much anymore. Well, the movie didn't really change. You did. Or the factors around it or how you interpret it changed. And today we're going to talk about 10 movies that I used to love and maybe don't love quite as much anymore. So pop that tape in. I got you. Let's go do this. All right, so 10 movies that just aren't the same anymore. I won't go so far as to say that I hate all of these movies, but they are all on this list for a reason, and I'm sure some of them are going to spark some controversy, so let's just jump right into it. With the first one up, these are not ranked in any kind of way, but the first one's going to send you to the comments, and I'm talking The Dark Knight Rises. And this is by far the weakest film in this trilogy. And it's not a bad movie. Like, it's not a horrible, oh my God, I can't watch that, it's a terrible movie. I loved this movie initially. I have a whole Bane costume that I've wore to Dragon Con, and I was all into the, darkness is your ally. You know, all of that kind of stuff. But when you really look back at it, the voice is bad. And honestly, Christopher Nolan is standing on the merit of Batman Begins and The Dark Knight, and he's kind of borrowing credit from those movies that this one doesn't really deserve, because those movies stood on incredible acting performances, beautiful visuals that we just had not seen before in a superhero movie. So it started giving this illusion that Christopher Nolan could do no wrong, and then you get this movie, and we didn't fully evaluate it correctly. I know I didn't, because you're caught up in the hype. Christopher Nolan can do no wrong, and the two movies before were great, and Heath Ledger as the Joker was incredible, and he won the Oscar after he had passed away, and there's just like a whole mythological force around this. But this movie really didn't have any ownership of any of that. And Christopher Nolan's borrowing the glory from those films to this one isn't really that cool either, because this film does not hold up. If you go back, it's trying to be a conclusion. It's got awful death scenes in it. It's got nonsensical takes of living in a hole and getting out. Like, it has a lot of problems, and it's actually hard for me to get through anymore. I find myself, if I watch it, I fast forward through parts. I just can't, it's not there. Whereas I think Batman Begins is underrated and The Dark Knight is great. This movie is like, doesn't belong in that trilogy. It really does not. And I think Christopher Nolan gets way too much credit, and that sort of hyped this movie up beyond its station, and I just don't really care for it anymore overall. All right, so the next one's going to surprise you. And listen, I still like this movie. I still watch this movie every year, but I used to love this movie. It used to be high ranking in one of my favorite franchises ever, and it constantly keeps moving itself down. I am talking about Friday the 13th, Part 3, 3D. And listen, this was awesome when I was a kid, the whole 3D concept, seeing that when it came out, that is super cool. Seeing Jason get his mask, that is super cool. But then as you go back and watch this, every time I watch this, it moves down the rankings list for me, because it has some things that for me are inexcusable. Among them, one of my biggest problems with this is the implied SA by Jason and the main female character in this movie. Jason doesn't do that. He doesn't have worldly wants like that. That's making Jason something completely different, and I do not care for it. A lot of the kills in this too are sort of workmanlike. They're a little mechanical. Then there's this whole aside with these other characters that doesn't even need to be there. Jason getting his mask is a milestone moment, and it's very important. The 3D sticks out at you as campy now because you're not usually watching it in 3D anymore. Like all the gimmicks, the harpoon through the eye coming at you, it just doesn't hold up the same. And that whole side plot with those characters that feel like they're in a Walter Hill movie or something over here, and then they're in the Warriors, and then they come in and they're in this movie, and then the whole SA implication. This movie is missing a lot, and every time I watch it, it moves down the list in this franchise. All right, so the next one is going to be interesting. It's 2015's The Force Awakens. And listen, I need you to think about what 2015 felt like. Walking into the theater after all of these years, you're talking about, 20 years or so of not seeing the original characters together. No, 30 years of not seeing the original characters all together in a movie. And then you walk in there, and this is written by Lawrence Kasdan, and you're so excited because there's the Millennium Falcon, and there's Han Solo and Chewie walking into the Millennium Falcon and saying, "We're home." And then you have Princess Leia and R2-D2 and C-3PO, and you're overwhelmed with this nostalgia, this yearning that you've been looking to see. And you've got a legendary writer came back for this. And on the surface, it feels like everything you want, like they're giving you and they're paying reverence to everything you love. And so you're caught up in this. And that lasts for a while until you really start to see everything that has happened since then with the deconstruction of heroes. This is ultimately one of the big starting points for that, because J.J. Abrams knew exactly what he was doing. Every frame of The Force Awakens, they knew what they were doing. Disney knew what they were doing, because it's engineered to make you feel things that you used to feel, but it's borrowing from something that's so much better, so much greater, and then it is destroying it. It's taking all that credit, that borrowed credit, putting it in a bank account and withdrawing from it, and then it's going to go bankrupt on you, because here's what you really miss. All of that deconstruction of heroes, it really started about right here. There's other movies too, but you have Luke Skywalker, who basically exists only in myth in this film as like a treasure map to him. He should have been there. You've got Leia, who is a fraction of herself. You have Han Solo and Chewbacca, who are being emasculated by Rey in their own ship. I mean, come on. You have these characters who are basically all being set up to be knocked over and replaced with the new agenda, with the new characters. Kylo Ren killing his father, Han Solo, in the most ridiculous way ever. And then Rey basically being the greatest at everything right off the bat. She didn't have to try and fail. These things were set up to destroy and knock over everything we loved about the original trilogy and those characters, deconstruct them, break them down, show them as nothing, kill them off, and install characters for the modern audience, and get rid of everything that we thought was great and it was hidden under reverence that actually wasn't there. The more I watch this, the more it makes me angry, and a lot of problems started with The Force Awakens. All right, so the next one is one that I just got on 4K, and it kind of spurred me on to go ahead and do this list. It is 1991's, I think it's 91, The Guyver. And this, oddly enough, also stars Mark Hamill. And listen, I like this movie. I appreciate that it's a low-budget movie. I think the effects are cool in it and stuff like that. But I used to love this movie. I mean, it had Mark Hamill in there. It had, it was the coolest effects. It just seemed cool. It's got a 14% on Rotten Tomatoes. I don't really care about any of that kind of stuff because most of those people are wrong all the time anyway. But the honest truth is, the practical effects are still super cool. They're fun to look at. They're fun to go down memory lane on. But that's about it when it comes to this movie. There is a paper thin plot. The movie is like, it's kind of really bad in some spots. Like when there's a fight scene in the alley that is just ridiculous. It is, maybe if you were having a party, let's just say, and you were enjoying some things and stuff like that, but it doesn't hold up against other films like this to me. The effects are super cool, and I love the practical effects, but this movie just, I used to love the comedy elements. Now they are cringeworthy in this to me, and they're not as fun as other movies like it that maybe don't even have as great of practical effects. The Guyver, just not the same anymore. I had a hard time making it through it. And talk about one that is hard to make it through now. Holy smokes, St. Elmo's Fire from 1985. Looking back at this now, like growing up and being, a kid and a teenager and watching this, and it had the Brat Pack in there. It's a Joel Schumacher film. It's about nothing. And these people are actually not cool in any way at all, for the most part. The gap between, what you thought they were and what they are really when you look back at it and what the movie is rough. Because here's what happens when I watch it now. The characters are absolutely exhausting, and I kind of want to smack each one of them, like completely. And I don't mean that as a pure criticism. It's just, it is exhausting to watch because the way you observe everything changes. Like Rob Lowe's character is not cool in any way in this movie. He's not charming or anything. He's just an irritating, irresponsible person who makes the life of everyone else around him kind of miserable. And the same with Demi Moore. She's not like tragically glamorous and all of that. Yeah, her being hot helped then, it helps now. But she's in a serious downward spiral that the movie treats as like sort of an aesthetic instead of a problem. Like, she's got more issues than Rolling Stone, and you just want to like shake these people. They're doing stupid things. It's a movie that's supposed to be about the fear of growing up and all that, but these people are too old already when you really look at it to still be acting this way, and it doesn't take any of it serious. I get the fact that I have changed, but my goodness, I was so far ahead of these people at the same age they were in being portrayed in this movie. It really just, it is irritating to watch St. Elmo's Fire, despite the incredible cast and some cool fall vibes. It's rough to get through. All right, now the next one up is a whole different kind of energy. It is 1987's The Garbage Pail Kids. And I got this 4K VSU from Vinegar Syndrome because I'm committed to this line. And this movie used to be cool to me. It was kind of transgressive because I used to collect the cards back in the mid-'80s. The Garbage Pail Kids cards, they were nasty, they were rude, they were gross, they were kind of in your face, kind of outlaw and rebel in a way. You were cool, you were trying to collect all these crazy cards. And so when the movie came out, it was incredible to see them make this jump from these cards to this movie, to a real like live action movie. And you thought that was super cool. And maybe it was back then, but boy, it is not now. Talk about something that is very difficult to finish. Holy smokes, it is very difficult to finish. And this is one that I used to like. This isn't in the category with Mac and Me that I never really cared for and still don't. This one I actually used to like. My brother and I collected these cards. We had fun. This movie was a gross out. It was like, watch this. Now it's like, hoo-hoo. Don't watch this. It is that bad. They're like unsettling puppets. They're gross. It doesn't translate. 90 minutes feels like an eternity with this movie. The plot makes no sense in this movie. It involves models. It is completely ridiculous. But like, when I was 10-ish or a little younger, it was cool. Now, not so much. It has a narrative really that probably should carry it for like a 30-minute episode of TV. And characters that really should have never been made to be in a live action film. It is gross out, toilet, ridiculous humor, no plot whatsoever. It's like shuffling a deck of cards, and it is awful. All right, so next one I'm going to tell you about a movie that I used to really like, and I still kind of like, but I do not love this film in any way, and I don't really care the next time I watch it. It became a legend, kind of by accident, and mostly by accident. It is the Boondock Saints. And the Boondock Saints came out. I had already graduated high school. You know, you were like kind of edgy if you like this, because it bombed commercially. It did not do well at all. The audience, though, then found it as a second life on DVD in the rental store. You know, even maybe VHS back then. Person-to-person recommendations, you know, and then suddenly every angsty, certain kind of teenager or college kid had this poster in their room or in their dorm room, and they're talking about it, and like it felt like this like secret thing, and you were super cool, and it said a lot about you to have it. So like the hype around this was doing a lot of work, because you got these vigilantes taking it upon themselves, you know, to go do these things, and they're you know, quoting Bible verses to criminals and stuff like that as they execute them, like reciting a prayer or whatever. And the performances are good. You got Willem Dafoe and all that. But man, this used to get recommended. It became a legend that is much bigger than the movie itself. And then if you look back at it, though, it seemed like it was this like art housey sort of counterculture thing, but it really wasn't. It was very solid and stylishly done and fit in right with the times. It was an entertaining sort of normal crime film with this just little edge to it. So it wasn't an underground sort of edgy masterpiece that mythology made this thing. And sort of that whole culture around it got to be old, and it has drugged the film down over time for me. And that part is not the film's fault at all, really, but it just became completely exhausting. And it became to where if a certain kind of person had that poster in there, it kind of told a lot about them. The movie didn't change. The mythology lifted it up beyond what it should have been, beyond its own weight. And now it's just like, ugh. I think about all that stuff every time I watch it. There's nothing that's really stand out about it besides that kind of cool part, reciting the prayer as they're going to execute people. Like, other than that, it's just another crime film, and I'm not really into those overall, so this one did not hang with me at all. Sorry, I know this has a big audience, but it's really derivative. It owes a lot to Tarantino in a lot of ways, who owes a lot to a lot of other films he took from. So Boondock Saints, I'm sorry, it's here. Now, the next one, I want to be careful about the criticism on this, because it's kind of unfair when it came out. And I still watch this movie. I would still watch this movie on a Friday night and have fun. Some of these others on this list, I would not. And that is Swamp Thing. And Swamp Thing, this is a cool 4K here. This came out in 1982. And that's a rough year, because that's one of the greatest cinematic years in movie history. And for creature features, I mean, you had The Thing even flopped that year, but you had The Thing, you had Poltergeist, you had American Werewolf in this year, you had E.T., you had Conan the Barbarian, you had Creepshow. This year was stacked, even in just this category. And this film also didn't have the budget of a lot of those, but you know, it's fun. It has the old school creature feature charm. It has Adrienne Barbeau topless, and that helps a lot, you know. And I still enjoy the Swamp Thing, and I still will watch it and own it. It is in a little bit different category than most of the rest of these. But at the same time, when you watch it, it's kind of slow in parts. It doesn't like get there. It doesn't have like a lot of intensity to it, to me, the way it once felt like it did. Despite the fact that they're shooting in rough practical locations, and there's a lot of things I love about this film, but it just doesn't get there. It's more serviceable, and it just doesn't hold up. Forget like American Werewolf and the Creepshow and the big creature features from that time. It doesn't hold up to things that were made around it, sort of like Return of the Living Dead. Like movies like this that were also in the same budget arena, they just hold up better to me overall. The Fog holds up way better to me. And it doesn't even have the same amount of creatures throughout it. But to me, this one just doesn't hold up. I enjoy it again, I would watch this before any of the others probably in this stack, but I don't love it the way I used to just absolutely love this movie. Now, the next one is one that has fallen off for me completely. I just got the 4K and it was hard to watch through. Even talked to my buddy Brian at the last movie standing, and he actually said he feels the same way, and he's younger than me and he was more in line with these movies, but it's 2009's Daybreakers, and this one just does not hold up for me at all. Like, it just doesn't. I don't enjoy the poor Willem Dafoe. He's in this one too. It's not his fault. But this is a world where the bad guys won, where vampires won. There's some cool world building and stuff in this movie. There's some good performances, but that whole like blue, desaturated, cold, and then just simply of the bad guys winning. Maybe that felt like edgy and new more so in 2009. Now it's every single movie. The evil wins. The bad guys win. There's no good that can win. It's a death march to evil at the end. And it just sort of, it takes this cool premise that it has at the beginning, and then it kind of, when you really watch it now, it just becomes an action horror movie where the bad guys have won to start out. So I used to think this was a whole lot better movie than I do now. I had not seen it in a really long time until I bought this 4K from Lionsgate Limited. And while that all looks good and visually it's there, it's not enough to carry me through this film. I won't say it's a slog to get through, but you know where it's going. It's almost like a paint by numbers in a different way. Like, you see the cracks way more now, and a lot of stuff that it did then that felt more meaningful is just old now. It's just old and been done a million times, and we're tired of seeing it. Also, not completely this film's fault, but man, it just is not there the way it used to be for me. All right, now the last one is kind of different because I also just got this 4K, and this movie is completely changed for other reasons that aren't just this. It's not this film's fault necessarily either. But it's 1995's Leaving Las Vegas. And while this looks great on this 4K, and this is an Oscar-nominated film. I know you got Nicolas Cage and Elizabeth Shue both getting Oscar recognition for this film. But man, this film is rough to watch. I sat down to start watching it, and about halfway through, I stopped it. It is depressing. It is hard to watch. There's nothing enjoyable or redeeming about it. There's nothing to hold on to. It is pure grief, pure despair, pure just self-sabotage to the most bitter end possible. And now we're so inundated with that. Back then, see, this was outsider art, kind of. It was a different take. It was something that we didn't see, a protagonist self-destructing on a one-way course with no hope. Now, this is all you see. Every single movie, Hereditary, Obsession, Midsommar, this is all you see every single movie. A hopeless death march to the end and the destruction of hope and our protagonists. Back then, though, teenage kid who grew up having a crush on Elizabeth Shue in the Karate Kid, getting to see her do some of the things she did in this movie, that was enough to draw you in. Then Nicolas Cage and his performance. Now, I mean, this movie is exactly as good as it ever was, but because of the way society has changed and getting older, you don't want to see this. Every movie is this now. This isn't a reprieve from, sunshine and rainbows. This is the dark destruction that we get constantly almost now. 99% of movies are this now. And that's no fault of this film, but it makes this film taxing and an absolute chore and a depression to watch. So I can't even enjoy the things about it that I used to, because now every movie is like this. And I don't want a constant, hopeless, miserable feeling every time I watch a movie. So personally, that's what happened with Leaving Las Vegas. So there you go, 10 movies that I used to feel completely different about, and now, man, they're on the outs for one reason or another. And I know that we all have movies just like this, and we have the flip side. I just did the flip side the other day. Movies that I used to hate, but now I love them. This is the other side that's a little bit rougher, and you have to really come to terms with it in yourself. I know we all got them, so drop some of yours in the comments down there and let me know what they are. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe, hype it up. That really helps the channel around here as we're trying to expand and bring more people into the pop culture family, and I really do appreciate it. If you would like to help support a little bit more, my Patreon link is in every single description. There you'll get deep dives into each one of these movies and all kinds of 4Ks, behind the scenes looks at my filmmaking, special members only videos, behind the scenes photos, and so much more, and it all helps the channel, and I really do appreciate it. But until next time, be kind, rewind like always. This is Chase with AV Pop Culture, and I'll see you real soon. Bye-bye. I know.